I can already tell from the thumbnail and its title that this is about to be one of the weird videos where I feel like you're gonna have a handful, I can be wrong, where I feel like you're gonna have a handful of people who like, nah, this person's innocent. You have a handful of people like, nah, this person is guilty. The reason why I say that because it's called The Strange Case of Michael Reese. Looking at the thumbnail, I'm kind of getting both vibes. Don't know, about to see what the hell's going on. As I'm watching the story, I'm gonna make assumptions. I'm gonna do that because I'm watching this as learning the story piece by piece. You might already know the story, so chill out if I blame somebody that's not it. I'm gonna figure that out as I watch the video. If you want to check out the original video, link will be in the description below. But let's go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we got Reese's Pieces, or, pieces of Reese's, and we got one of those good old triangles. By that I mean we got a town in nowhere, religious folk doing unreligious things, and just absolute Egypts. The triad of small town cases. You know those, you thought this was a good idea? Really? Alabama bound, and without further ado, let's stop kicking the tires and give it a go.
So it's one of those like really nigga like moments.
To the town of Morris we go. Even the town name, Morris. A little more than 2,000 people we go. Even the town name, Morris.
Apologies to any more. Oh, okay, I was gonna say, he said Mars or Moors. Okay, any Moors out there, but I don't want to live inside you. Oh, okay.
A little more than 2,000 people live there, a small town just north of Birmingham. Oh wait, not that one. Birmingham. And it's about as interesting as its website. Though, when you type it into Google Maps, this picture comes up, which I enjoy.
Oh shit,
honestly,
no.
It seems like a pleasant, sleepy little town. Not much happens, which is not always a bad thing. Things were not so quiet, though, on a night in February 2015 in a house on the 600 block of Banks Street, just across the road from the police station. Like, literally. I mean, this is the house, and this is the police station. Cops just had to, poke the head out the window.
You can't do shit.
Hey, what's the crack? And I guess this is downtown Morris.
You can't light a firecracker a day, dog. I wouldn't want to live
This is the house. And this is the police station. Cops just had to, poke the head out the window and, hey, what's the crack? And I guess this is downtown Morris. Yippee! A 911 call was made from that house. That was the house of Michael and Cindy Reese. Why did they call? Just shout. That night was the 18th of February, which is just when I'm posting this video. Jeez! I timed that one well. That's when a 911 call was made at about 8 p.m.
Police department.
Hey, I just got home and walked in the front door, and I don't know if the house has been broke into or what. The table's been knocked over. And
Okay, well, let's back up just a little
I
bit.
can't find my husband.
Okay, who are you?
Cindy, Henderson Reese.
Cindy Reese?
Uh-huh.
What happened was that Cindy Henderson Reese, wife of Michael, arrived home after going to the Piggly Wiggly. What the fuck?
That's a real
My
place.
mama taught me how to shop at Piggly Wiggly.
It's a real
That's
store.
I was just saying the same shit, nigga. I knew that place was real. They made me think shit like, I don't know if you watch South Park, like Alabama, man. Shit, I want one of them niggas so bad. But peep, yo, you gotta be a bold motherfucker to rob, break somebody's house that's right across the street from the police station.
My mama taught me how to shop at Piggly Wiggly.
It's a real store.
Gee whiz.
It's a supermarket chain. That's mad.
We both said that. That's crazy, dog.
Anyways, she returned home after picking up a few bits and bobs to a ransacked house. She couldn't find her husband. The police wandered over to have a go and saw the upturned gaff, and then, peeking down the hall, at the end of it, toward the back door, they saw someone slumped over.
Oh.
It was Michael Reese, 40 years old, and he had been shot to death. As I said, Cindy and Michael
Dang,
had
hear
been
that?
married for 5 years at this point. Michael was Cindy's second husband. Her first had sadly killed himself 3 years before she married Michael, and that had devastated her. Cindy was Michael's second wife after a divorce, which too greatly affected him. As for work, Michael was in computer IT. He worked at a hospital in Birmingham, a position he'd had for the past 2.5 years. Cindy, a senior accountant for the Jefferson County Commission. They didn't have children, but like, a lot of folk down there, the church was a big part of their lives. They both were members of the Sardis Baptist Church in Big Hammy. Cindy, she was in fact the music director, right? We just had one of them. Diane Stouty, remember her? She was mental.
And I guess I just had enough.
Ooh, I just watched that.
Michael had been shot once, back of the head. Execution style, as they say. Things were turned over in the house. Like, it really did look like someone had been through, ransacked the place, like a burglary gone wrong. There was
Staged.
fast food on the table, relatively untouched. As if Michael, he had just gone to get some grub, arrived home to
Man, that shit look good
find
as
a
hell,
catsuit
too.
wearing bad lad robbing his shit, and then they killed him. Couldn't have happened, to a nicer guy. Everybody said about Michael, he was generous, he was funny, he was kind, he was gentle. It's horrific. And Mars, a safe city, so killers on the run would be big news and big concern, because that does not happen. It doesn't happen in Mars. So they spoke with Cindy a few hours after the investigation began. They needed to know everything.
First off, what do you know about what's happened at the house as far as has anybody told you that Michael's gone?
They told me he had been shot. They pretty much just kept asking me, what happened when I got there. And they told me he'd been shot. But I didn't know that. I mean, they never did really say it's gone.
He's I understand.
Hold up, my little scrawny ass getting cold. Let me turn this little space heater on. You gotta be really bold for somebody to do this right across the street from the police station. But also, because, like I said, I could be wrong, you will be smart to know, like, yo, I can't do this at home because we live across the street from the police station. So, I'm not saying that it actually happened, but what I'm saying is what I got from 6 minutes in so far. I'm a little, I'm just kind of looking at you a little different. That's it. Stop playing with me. Let the story finish, dog.
He's I understand.
It had been just a normal day. It was a Wednesday that day, so, they both worked, and after work, Michael, he picked Cindy up. They went to her mother's house, then they went to church, then they went and got some fast food, and then they went home. But just as they pulled into the house, Cindy was like, ah, shit, forgot some. So she ran over to the Piggly Wiggly to pick up just a few groceries. She pulled out, Michael walked into the house, and then this. Short time later, she arrived home from the supermarket, and yeah, there was only 2 possible suspects if this wasn't random. Right, one was a contractor, they were having some work done on the house, and the other was Cindy's bit on the side.
But when I was talking to you,
He said her what?
Cindy's bit on the side.
but when I
Bid?
was talking to you before, okay,
Oh, shit.
and you were talking about, okay, and you were talking about, we were talking about Jeff, your face would actually light up.
It was a pretty open secret at that time that Cindy was off how do I put this delicately? Riding! She was riding someone else. Everyone knew, despite Cindy's denials. You know, she never would admit it. And there were rumors of who the guy was. Well, guess who? It was none other than the pastor of the Sardis Baptist Church her and Michael went to. A Jeff Browntown Brown. They were both big, so they couldn't exactly hide well in a car together.
Shut up,
even if onlookers wished they had, because no one wants to see that, but people did. They said they would see them in the car getting it on numerous times, despite her protestations that, you know, nothing was going on to anybody who mentioned it or anybody who even thunk it, you know. You must be joking. She would say, though, we went on walks,
don't knock them
you know, her
does,
and Jeff.
though. I mean, the top is, wow, it's immaculate, dog.
Car together. Even if onlookers wished they had, because no one wants to see that, but people did. They said they would see them in the car getting it on numerous times, despite her protestations that, you know, nothing was going on to anybody who mentioned it or anybody who even thunk it, you know. You must be joking. She would say, though, we went on walks, you know, her and Jeff went on walks together all the time. Well, they may not have been walking together, but they were certainly doing cardio. And so, when Michael ends up dead, man, it's a thinker. She admitted the affair to the police. An emotional affair, though. Getting sticky? Come on now.
Let me ask you, did it make it easier because you were in love with Jeff to let your relationship with Michael fall to the side, or?
No.
She would say her marriage was on the rocks. Michael, you know, he was more interested in games than he was her. Sex is temporary, but games are eternal. But of course, would she cheat? Jeff? Would she ever? Would she fall? And Jeff, you know, was a pastor. He was a God-fearing man, but he feared the devil even more. So why would he murder? She even left the church due to the rumors. Eventually, Jeff, too, also due to the rumors, which, let me remind you, were true.
To make it easier.
Well, Jeff was actually fired. Well, I mean, you know, you couldn't have a hypocritical person lecturing people on, you know, good values and maybe not committing adultery, but thankfully, you know, it's rare that it happens. There's very few hypocritical people in religion, I say sarcastically with great relish.
How long have you known Cindy? Where did y'all meet?
I was the pastor candidate at Sardis Baptist Church back in August of...
And God, stop playing, boy.
Back in the pastor candidate at Sardis Baptist Church back in August of 2013.
She was the
Worship minister, worship leader.
Was she with Michael at that point in time?
Yes.
Or was she already married?
Yes.
Then Cindy finally admitted that after they both left the church, it became, as the late Olivia Newton-John would say...
It sounds like I know where the story is going, dog. So they really wanted to be together, so they had to get rid of bro out the picture. That's what it sounds like. I'm hoping that's not the case. Which is going to be so stupid, dog. Just fucking break up with me. Just break up!
Both left the church, it became, as the late Olivia Newton-John would say, physical, let's get into physical. Let me hear your body talk. Let's get physical, physical. But she was trying to make it work. She even told Michael about what was going on. And these 40-year-olds even went to Disneyland for their anniversary to try and patch things up. We tried something designed for children to save our marriage, and we're all out of ideas. They soon spoke.
That shit is scary to me. That's one of the things, look, let's talk a little bit of shit real quick. That's one of the things that's scary about marriage to me, dog. How do you still love this person that long? I'm not knocking it. If you do, you do. I'm so glad for you. It's basically, I'm not asking that as in the question I'm asking you. I'm legit, this is why I wondered to myself, like, for better wording, how do I love this same person? How do this person love me for this long when we're like old as shit together and still love each other? Because when I be seeing people, and I see it all the time to the point that it's scary as shit to me, dog. all the time. I see it when I got friends that's at that point where their marriage is like, you just see it, it's just hanging on by a damn string, dog. And they be trying little shit to fix it, like oh, we gonna do this, try this, and do this. Where we gonna work this out? Yeah, we gonna do this. And I be happy, like, yeah, good, that's dope, and I hope it work. And then you see it like a day later, it kicks back to whatever the same shit they was already going through, whatever. I'm like, dog, this shit is crazy, because when someone feels something, dog, that shit is hard to fucking knock it, dog. I still love my girl. Hella still love her. Hopefully she still hella love me. You better, motherfucker. But look, though. I always just wondered that, man, like if my body was just getting to a point, it's like, I'm kind of want something different, kind of want this. Shit is getting tempting. I'm going to do shit to get rid of the feelings. But nigga, you know they gonna come back. You know it. And they gonna start coming back stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, fuck. And then you fuck up and do it. And then you feel like shit. I haven't been in that situation. But I know it. I have in high school, but that was a high school relationship. It wasn't like marriage and shit. I don't know how the hell she falls out too. I was like, damn.
Going on. And these 40-year-olds even went to Disneyland for their anniversary to try and patch things up. We tried something designed for children to save our marriage, and we're all out of ideas. They soon spoke with Jeff. Jeff had an alibi, however, for the time of Michael's death. He was over 50 miles away. Jeff had been a Marine at one stage, later a cop, then a pastor, followed by a barber, hairdresser, then a pest control guy. That's ironic. What an eclectic career. Wow. It'd be more impressive if he did all that in reverse, though. He was a jack of all trades, though jackass of all trades might be more appropriate. But people said Jeff was around a lot, like to the point of watching the Reese house a lot. Stalker type shit. After Cindy and Jeff left their church, he followed the Reeses to their new one. And not only that, word was Jeff had a few honeys around town. Seems like Michael was aware of Jeff trying to steal his woman, and that Jeff might use violence to get his way.
Were you trying to get him to leave her?
No, I was trying to. We developed safe words for her, and we tried to. I did talk to her, like, listen, dude, it's not worth it.
Well, would you admit, or would you say that his curiosity or his suspicions were warranted? I mean, of course they were.
Michael started to realize he had a target on his back, especially when word went around that Jeff had offered some dudes his car if they took care of Michael.
What the fuck? So he knew before this shit
Then
happened?
they dug a
Boy, I swear I thought someone was calling me. My bad. I promise I ain't got roaches. It was this cord.
Michael. Then they dug a little deeper. It was a burglary gone wrong, they initially thought, but nothing was stolen. Nothing major anyway, like some small pieces of jewelry, but, you know, they had some valuables still left. It was kind of like, let's mess up the house, but I still want to keep this shit, so, like, just maybe throw the blanket around, pour some cornflakes on the floor, nothing serious. The door was not busted in. That 911 call.
Table's been knocked over. And
Okay, let's back up just a little bit.
my husband.
He was literally at the end of the hall. She would have seen him. Seems like she wanted to ensure she wasn't the one who found him. And the contractor they had working was confirmed to be away at that time.
Damn.
And honestly, the excuse she had that she wasn't there, that she had to run to the store.
He didn't have any more ham. I didn't know he had bologna. He must have bought that. Oh, I bought the orange juice because I didn't know how much orange juice he had.
Seemed
Shut
weak.
your ass. He should
at
just
best.
jump
Well,
at
first
her
of all, she
ass.
just arrived home with
Flinch her ass. Shut your ass up, motherfucker.
I bought the orange juice because I didn't know how much orange juice he had.
seemed weak at best. Well, first of all, she just arrived home with fast food. So you probably eat that first before you go. It'll just get cold. Come on now. Second of all, the things she said she ran to the supermarket for
was in the fridge.
some milk and eggs and sandwich meat, that kind of shit.
Fucking hell.
They had that shit in their fridge.
I know it.
Though, so she, you know.
You knew
They later
damn
went
well you
and
had all
searched
that.
Cindy's office and found she had a picture of her and her husband. Fine. And a picture just below that of her and her lover. Not so fine. They also found she had been paying for an apartment for Jeff. A little love shack. The night of the murder, Jeff had texted Cindy, "Keep me posted." Like they were expecting something. Like maybe they were expecting something that would not be tolerable to the life of Michael Reese. They also found on phone records of Cindy that she had called Jeff that night. She called him and just left the phone on so that Jeff could listen in to everything that happened that night, including maybe something a little like this. She even spoke to him before the operator picked up the 911 call.
Damn.
I'm almost dead. Police department. Hey,
Fucking evil ass.
Cell phone records also indicated that Jeff was not 50 miles away, as he said. But he wasn't in the house either. But he was close to the house. He was probably in the vicinity of Mars, or at least his phone was, probably watching nearby. What the police suspect happened is that Michael and Cindy, they arrived home, after picking up food that night.
And that was
Then Michael, he went into the back of the house to let the dogs in. And while he was kneeling down, Cindy...
And that was it.
Before you said you went out to go to the pig, you almost started crying.
Rest in peace, bro.
Because you knew exactly when and what happened.
Yup.
And it terrifies you. It terrified you. So again, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that this has happened. But will you talk to me and tell me what happened, okay? I'm here to help you.
Then she messed up the place a little and went to the Piggly Wiggly. Then she came home and called 911.
I can put you exactly where you were at that point in time. Because as she's walking up to the door, I'm going to be able to find out exactly where you are. So my timeline's not going to be off. Now, whether or not she did it, or that you did it, or that y'all helped each other, we're going to figure that out. I promise you.
I do think that one of the two killed him. You or her killed the guy. Shot him in cold blood. He didn't see it coming. Just shot him down like he was an animal. Shot him in the back of the head like he was a pig or something. I think you or her did it.
You said what?
I think you or Cindy did it.
And I respectfully disagree.
That's your right.
It was less than a month after the death of Michael Reese that both Cindy and Jeff were pulled over and arrested. Both faced murder charges. They both pleaded not guilty to the charges. Jeff, in a deal with prosecutors, agreed to testify against Cindy, and he pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. This was in August 2016. Under that agreement, 20 years in the slammer, bucko. Cindy's trial began.
Damn, that shit crazy. You just do crime with someone, and then they just fold, like, boom. It's legit crazy to think about. I'm not even trying to refer to the whole, oh yeah, you snitch type of, not refer to that. I'm legit putting myself inside that position. Like, nigga, that is life for some people. Like, not saying you get life. I'm saying, like, that's legit a lifestyle. Not a lifestyle. Nigga, that's legit. Some people go through that. Like, fuck it. And then they just tell the truth. Like, boom. So-and-so did this, XYZ. And you know. You don't know. I've never been in this position. It's just when I watch shit like this, I legit be just looking like, dog, this is legit another fucking human being. How can you not legit imagine certain stuff? Like what if that was me in that situation? Oh my gosh, stuff like that is what I'm trying to say. It's like, fuck. Now I'm about to get life. Then the judge gonna look at me next. Like, no, he lied. He did it, judge. I'm gonna say that. Damn, that's some scary shit to know. Like, you just threw your life away for something. I'm sorry. I see too many ways out of this. And it's more to go. We're going to let it finish. I know I talk too much. But so far, it just seems like the marriage is at the end. It ain't like, sometimes we see them crazy stories where it's like, I'm tied up into this and this and this story and this, and I can't let this happen. If this happened and this a fault and this a break and everything. You know what I'm talking about? Where like some people, like, they be feeling like they legit tied up in this shit and it's like this is the only way out. Even though it ain't, but they still feel like that. This one ain't shit. This one just sound like, nigga, we bored of each other. Call it off. That's it. The hell you gotta kill that man for? Stop playing.
Years and the slammer, bucko. Cindy's trial began in November 2016. Now, no one really knows who was the shooter. No one really knows exactly what happened that night, but it's believed that it was Cindy who killed her husband. But of course, her defense said it was Jeff. Jeff, the defense said, who was obsessed with Cindy. He stalked her. He would not let her go. And when it looked like, the Reese's marriage might be mending, hey, Disneyland, he wasn't too keen on that. After all, she was paying for his apartment because he was in the middle of divorcing his wife. So she was his cash cow. Apparently, accountants for the Jefferson County, commission office pay very well. He was inside the home when the Reeses arrived, they said, and he blew Michael away. See, the angle of the bullet that killed Michael was in a downward trajectory. Cindy would have been too short. Not Jeff, though. Also, there was no evidence on Cindy, nor gunshot residue. Also, when arrested, both Cindy and Michael were on a $100,000 bond. Cindy got herself out of jail, but she didn't pay for Jeff. He had to remain in jail till the trial, which wasn't particularly long. But, Cindy's defense said, he was just pissed off at Cindy for not bailing him out too, so he was happily agreed to, join the prosecution.
Yup.
On the other hand...
Hold on, real quick. Hey. B, let me go ahead and do this resync real quick. Hold on, my bad. This shit messed up.
Happily agreed to, join the prosecution. On the other hand, Jeff, testifying for the prosecution, said that during their little escapades together, Cindy always talked about killing Michael. She wanted him gone. And she asked Jeff a couple of times to find a hitman for her. Then the shooting happened. Cindy roughed the place up, then met Jeff at a gas station, gave him the gun and some jewelry. Cell phone records, of course, though, disputed this. Jeff was, or his phone was, very near the home indeed.
Oh.
Ultimately, after 90 minutes deliberation, Cindy was found guilty. She was sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Morris' mother headed to prison for decades for her husband's murder. Today, a judge sentenced Cindy Reese for her role in a fatal love triangle.
Sitting in shackles this morning, Cindy Reese faced a judge awaiting her punishment.
Man,
2 years ago, her husband
had no kids, nothing like that. Shit would have been, it'll hurt y'all heart. That's it. Hopefully, bro wasn't idol. You know what I mean? But who knows? It sounds like it's a lot. I'm missing out the story because it is just a little 21-minute video, and we don't know the full story because it's still unknown information. But from what we got, if it's a situation like this in real life, like, man, just leave that shit, dog. Stop playing.
This morning, Cindy Reese faced a judge awaiting her punishment. 2 years ago, her husband Michael Reese was gunned down in the couple's Morris home. Last month, a jury convicted his wife Cindy in his death. Today, Reese received 40 years in prison. When her husband was murdered, she and former pastor Jeff Brown were having an affair. Prosecutors argued the murder was the casualty of a tragic love triangle. Reese is eligible for parole in 10 years. Her family pledges to fight against her freedom.
Wait, did you say?
Once again, in this story, we see what we always see. People are never driven to murder. People drive themselves to murder. Rather than divorcing, or because they're jealous, or because they're greedy, they just decide to take another human life, which for most people is pretty unthinkable. Especially when it's your husband, wife, child, parent, whatever. Someone who, you love for decades, and then you're like, maybe not. Regardless of who killed Michael, there was absolutely no reason to.
Man, that's
they
the
could
same
have
shit,
gone off
dog.
together. Cindy could have easily divorced Michael, or if Jeff really was stalking Cindy, he could have just had a wank and fucked off. I can't even put myself in their shoes because they're so friggin' beyond normal thought. You have to really be when you think, you know what? I'll just kill him. Seems like there's a lot of people like that though out there, because I still have quite a lot of stories to tell.
Hold up.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to do so and be here with this guy. Here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon in the next little video. Until then, please, as always, you know, take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.
Yo, can you download this fucking song, dude? And what's crazy is I was low key starting to feel bad a little bit, because as the video was going, I'm like, I'm really on her head. I'm really blaming her. And I'm like, it might not even be dog. But the like stuff he was talking about, I'm like, nah, this ain't really adding up. And it was just like the feels, like I felt like, bro, like knowing, like we're knowing, bro, at his last moments. He probably he felt like he said he knew it was coming, like they was on him. Went to go get his last meal. Didn't even know he was ordering his last meal, dog. Looked like he didn't get to enjoy that motherfucking either. Bro, I hope you ate some fries out the back. Hope you ate her shit too. Fuck her. Driving home. She like, I left some shit to Piggly with. We don't know if this is actually what happened. This is the story they put together so far. But damn, this shit got me talking all along my feelings. I ain't not be doing this shit. Getting all emotional and shit. But still, dog, rest in peace, man. The crazy part is staying right across the street from a police station. Like, boy, you know how annoyed I'd have been to do anything like that? So that alone showed me like this shit was just cold, dog. They ain't even hear that shit. Damn. Hey, I'm about to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my night. You do the same. Morning, evening, daytime, whenever you're checking this out. Rest in peace, Michael.